All right, everybody. I just want to say hello again. I know it's been a little bit of a time that actually went by since we did our last series with the I'm Loving Me series, but we are back and I am so excited. And tonight we have someone who's going to talk about something just a little bit different, something that deals with more of getting into your feelings and really putting your words out there through writing and poetry. And her name is Errika, and I want you guys to give her a warm welcome. And I really, really want to say, guys, that I am so happy and I am so glad that you guys are really taking in the information inside of the community. I know that we do have some creative people out there, so I know that this webinar will be very beneficial to you. So Errika, thank you for being here and thank you for introducing us to something a little bit different. And I can't wait to jump in and really talk about this thing of actual poetry. So what we do at the I'm Loving Me webinar series is we always ask the question of what did you see when you looked in the mirror that made you create this whole thing? So if you can, just tell us your story.
Okay. And thank you for having me. I'm going to start
no
there.
problem.
So when I look in the mirror, what I see is a warrior. I see somebody that had to fight and fight hard every single day, because the toughest fight that I've ever had in my life was the fight within myself.
Yeah.
So how I ended up getting started with this course that I am about to launch is I went through depression myself. It's something that people don't like to talk about. There's a lot of stigma around it. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to create a safe space, the space that I did not have when I went through my depression. I want to create that for others so that when they are going through what they're going through, they have a space where they can communicate their thoughts, communicate their feelings in a way where it isn't harmful to them, where they don't feel like they are completely exposed. Because in poetry, you have the opportunity to be as direct as you want to be or be as metaphoric as you want to be.
Right. And
so it gives them another opportunity. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And so when you say, like depression, I know there's like a lot of women who might be suffering from it and they really don't know it. It's like, how, if you can tell us, like in your story, how did you actually know that you were having signs or was depressed? Did you get diagnosed? Is it, different signs that you saw? How did you know?
Well, at first I was in complete denial. It started out just being, oh, I just feel bad today. Oh, I'm just kind of sad. It will pass. I will get over it. And being from the community that I'm from, I was like, well, I'm just not praying hard enough, because you can just pray it away.
Right.
And what ended up happening for me was I got to the point where my mental was so off that I started getting physical symptoms.
Wow.
Yes. So I was able to start to really look at myself and see that this mental issue was now affecting me physically. And that's what led me to finally going to see a doctor, where I was diagnosed with severe depression.
Wow. And was it like, you were losing weight, or were you gaining weight, or?
So unfortunately, I was gaining weight. I wish I was losing. That would have been nice. It would have took a little long to go to the doctor. But no, I was actually gaining weight. I gained an additional 50 pounds in the span of 2 months. So
okay.
It came when it came quick, because I was trying to eat my feelings.
Gotcha.
I was trying to find everything to distract me from the problems that I was having within. And when nothing worked, I finally went to a doctor thinking that would solve all the problems, and it didn't.
Okay.
So when I went to see a doctor finally and was diagnosed with depression, I was given a sheet of paper that had a list of therapists written on it to go see. And then I was given a prescription of an antidepressant pill that I can't even pronounce. So I took the pills. They did not work. In fact, they caused symptoms that I don't even want to begin to describe. I ended up having full-blown panic attacks that I had never had before in my life as a side effect. And when I tried to go see a therapist, the session went so horribly that I felt so defeated. Wow. So I ended up going all the way back to something that I used to do way back in high school just for basically kicks and giggles. So when I was doing poetry, it wasn't like I was initially skilled or trained. It was just a way to express myself because I was in high school, and you know how that goes.
Right. It's like, but I know for me, when I'm in that space where, and I could say, like, I could take last week. You know how it's like everything that you think can go wrong goes wrong. Yes. And you just saying to yourself, how the hell did all of this happen within the short period of time? It's only Wednesday, and here I am. I have 4 or 5 things that I need to solve or get together, or something happened where it is somebody else bringing me into their drama, or I'm experiencing drama on my own, or, it's just like things start breaking down, and you just like, damn. Like, what in the world is going on? And then on top of that, on top of just the day-to-day stuff that you think you could get through, you still have this thing where you like always kind of like questioning yourself. Does that make sense? Like, am I doing what I'm supposed to do right? Because why is it that I'm always having all of these issues, especially if they're repeat issues? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Like, for you, when what was the thing that was getting you into that space? Was it love? Was it people? Was it, something from the past? Like, now that you're doing what it is that you're doing, and I know it's probably in your poetry, but if you can just give us something so that woman who's out there that probably doesn't know, what was it that was really eating you like that?
So for me, it was a combination of things. So one, I am already the type of person where I see all the negative. I see all of the bad outcomes. Anyway, it's just my personality, which makes me a great lawyer.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Very harmful in my personal life. So I would drag that into my personal life. Yep. So that's just my personality set. Mm-hmm. Then when you add on top of that the fact that the most important person in my life had just passed away, that was my grandmother, who was the inspiration behind the name. Her name was Beatrice, and so I took B as part of the Be Alive, because her personality she was able to give a helping hand, non-judgmental, no matter what you came to her with. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to provide. So that's how I got that name. But to answer your question, she had just passed away in 2015. And then I moved to Georgia. So I was actually working in Atlanta, staying in Smyrna. Right. I wasn't in my field. I was working in an accounting firm, and although I had fantastic coworkers, I still found myself miserable every single day because it wasn't what I had originally planned out for myself. So I had no one to talk to about that anymore because my grandmother was gone. And then I end up homeless. So I have 3 degrees and no roof over my head, and a car that won't even start because the battery is dead.
Girl, let me tell you something. And I'm gonna be so real right now. I've read today, and I was doing, a whole bunch of personal development. And one of the things that came up was how we have such high expectations for ourselves, and expectations that we have sometimes they are so unrealistic we don't know it, but we push ourselves to get to it, and we spend most of our time trying to, ooh, I just hope I don't cry. We spend most of our time trying to get to somewhere where we know, well, we don't know, where really it is such of a high expectation that we're self-sabotaging ourselves, right?
Yes.
And when I was listening to that, I just said to myself, I said, it can't be, because on the other hand, you were told, push, do this, do that, work hard, do all this. And then it's like, okay, you can either be in a relationship, or it could be something that you're pushing towards, or it could be something with family. And they tell you, you know, uh, what did the guy say? He said, be open to anything, but don't be attached, but be attached to nothing, right? Because those
Okay.
things that you're going to be attached to, you are setting expectations for them. And when they don't meet those expectations, you get disappointed. And once you get disappointed or you get hurt, you fall into something, right? Like today's my grandmother's birthday, right? Who
Oh,
I
happy
love and adore, right? Today's her birthday. And for me, my expectations of her was the lady of wisdom that I can go to, who taught me how to survive and how to live. And it sounds like you had that same thing. And when it's not there anymore, and I understand exactly how you feel when it's not there anymore, there's no replacement for that.
Yes.
Your expectations are so high that even if you try to seek it out, you will never, it's like your mind tells you this ain't it. No, you kind of sort of, you nice, right? But no,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It ain't it.
But
So,
not quite. Not quite.
right. But you know what? And it's like, I get that. And I can see how when you move into another state and you are, you still grieving over a loss, and you're trying to still push forward, right? Do what it is that you need to do, still continue on the path, but that hole that you have is just not being filled. And I'm just so happy that you were able to find something like poetry, because at the same time, like they say in the Bible, all the Psalms and everything, where people were writing poetry and doing things to express themselves, those are the things that are around forever. Those are the things that, people learn from. Those are the tales that people can take and relate to. And I'm just so happy that you have done that kind of outlet, because, like they say, poetry and jazz is kind of the similar thing, where people don't sit down and just write anymore. And if they do, it becomes a rap song. You understand?
Very true.
you know,
Very true.
but I just say all that to say, when you said your comment, it's just more like, when you are in it, and you get to a point where you're self-sabotaging, I'm glad you went to go get the help, but I'm glad that you chose the path that you chose, because it's going to be forever written. You understand?
Yes.
It's not just words. It's something that you can pass down, and that's what makes it so amazing. And we really want to support you with the course. So,
Thank you.
when was the day when you said, you know what, I'm going to pick up this paper and I'm going to pick up this pen and I'm just going to write? Like, if you could just go back and remember that time, what were you feeling? What were you doing? And when were you able to, like Terry McMillan say, when were you able to exhale and it just all just went away?
So for me, what ended up happening was I went to go see a pastor. She was not my pastor at the time, but someone introduced me to her. And what she ended up saying to me was, God just told me that you are supposed to be a writer. God told me that you are meant to speak.
Yeah.
And I blew her off. I was like, nah, I don't know what you're speaking of. Nope. But then when I got home, I was like meditating on what she had just said to me. And I had a sheet of paper and a pencil in front of me. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to journal. That's what I thought I was going to do. I'm just going to write down how I'm feeling right now. And then when I read it back to myself, I realized that pretty much the whole thing rhymed and it was a poem.
You still have the
I didn't even intend for it to originally be a poem. It's just how it flew out of me. Wow. And while not all poems have to rhyme, this one just did. So that was my moment when I had my, oh, I'm really supposed to be writing again.
Exactly. And you know, it's so crazy when people can see, when other people can see it. And then it just takes you a little bit, you know, it takes you a little while to see it. But
yes.
I'm just so happy that you have discovered, you know, what your issues were. And then you turned around and you made them so positive where, you know, now the whole world can see exactly what it is that you do. And the whole world can now see your story because, you know, depression is real. You know,
yes.
depression is real. And to me, when we were younger, you know, when grandma used to just have the cousin that would be over there forever, he never moved out, all of that. And you're just thinking like, why is he here? It's like grandma knew something, you know, knew something was wrong and needed to be able to keep that person close, you know. But now everything is so scattered and everybody's on their own and being affected by social media and stuff. You just left out there. But the great thing is now that they will be able to come across your stuff and really, you know, get some inspiration. So of course, share everything that you need to share so that we can find out about your course. Where can we find some of your poetry? How can we follow you so we can actually put it out there?
Okay. Well, right now I'm actually about to be posting quite a bit of my poetry online. I used to post online and I used to go by Dark Child Kiss online. Now I was a very different person back then, so do not judge that poetry. But I will also be posting a lot of my new poetry on Instagram. And what I do now is there's so much negativity and falsehood and Photoshop online. I want to make sure that my page is a page where you can just come, you can let your emotions flow on there, and I hope that whoever comes across the page, it speaks to them. So be on the lookout for more poetry from me, and it'll be on Instagram at Errika J. Yes. And you can just find me on pretty much all social media there.
Okay, at Errika J. Well, Miss Errika J, I thank you for giving us such an insight tonight. And guys, I want you guys to go and follow her. Some of your poetry, please send it to us so that we can post it. And we'll definitely, you know, get the word out for you. And I just thank you for being here and make sure that we continue to connect. Because I think you have a unique skill. And, you know, like I tell everybody, the world needs you. You know, the world needs you. They need what it is that you have. So thank you for coming.
No, thank you for having me. And the world also needs you because you guys have a great mission. I wish you nothing but the best. And if there's any way that I can be of any help to you at all, do not hesitate to let me know.
All right. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. You have a great evening.
You too.